In the fiercely competitive world of MotoGP, a surprising statement came from Ducati CEO Claudio Domenicali. He expressed his extraordinary admiration for Marc Marquez, even preferring to praise Marquez's actions rather than celebrate Francesco Bagnaia's podium at the Jerez circuit. So what was it that made Marquez attract so much attention, even from those who were his main rivals? Let's discuss. The Jerez circuit in Spain this weekend not only presented an emotional drama on the track, but also opened the eyes of the whole world to the true meaning of courage, fighting spirit, and the soul of a true racer. Amidst the euphoria of the podium, there was one name that received the highest praise from Ducati's top management, namely Marc Marquez. At first glance, the results of the Jerez MotoGP looked straightforward. Francesco Bagnaia, the mainstay of the Ducati Lenovo team, secured third place and a place on the podium. But behind the scenes, there was a bitter feeling for Ducati CEO Claudio Domenicali. For Domenicali, the podium felt bland, not just because of the result, but because Bagnaia's performance was not considered to reflect the true spirit of Ducati. In his comments, Domenicali gently said that the weekend was a bitter week for Bagnaia. For him, Ducati is not just about podiums, it is about relentless struggle, ambition, and the courage to push yourself to the limit, even if it means falling and getting up again. And it was not Bagnaia who embodied that spirit in Jerez, but Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez received the highest praise from the entire Ducati ranks, despite only finishing 12th after a crash. In a race full of drama, Marquez showed something more important than the numbers on the scoreboard, the spirit of never giving up. When Marquez crashed in the middle of the race, an incident that made many think it was all over, he chose to get up. With a badly damaged bike and less than optimal physical condition, Marquez returned to the track. He fought through the pain, battled the technical limitations, and overtook his rivals one by one to finish the race in 12th position. For Domenicali and the whole of Ducati course, those 4 small points meant much more than a podium finish. They were a symbol of Ducati pride, fighting spirit, the courage to take risks and never giving up. Marc was incredible. He rode the Desmacedesi GP25 beyond the limits of logic. He played with the grip, danced on the edge of danger, and remained confident, said Domenicali with admiration. The race in Jerez heated up as soon as the lights went out. The crowd had barely had time to settle down when Marc Marquez, Francesco Bagnaia, and Fabio Quartararo were immediately involved in a fierce duel at the front. The 3 riders vied with each other in speed, aggression, and mental toughness, creating an extraordinary spectacle from the start of the race. For the first 4 laps, Marquez and Bagnaia stood out. The two fought fiercely, overtaking each other in every corner and forcing each other to the limit. Every maneuver was close, every break was risky. The fans were made to hold their breath as they watched the battle of strategy and courage between 2 of MotoGP's top gladiators. But the real drama came on the 20th lap. As Marquez pushed hard to take the lead from Bagnaia, he lost grip on his front wheel. In a matter of seconds, the Honda bike he was riding skidded, sending him into the gravel. But in the midst of this disappointment, Marc Marquez showed his true character. Without hesitation, he immediately got up, picked up his damaged bike, and returned to the track. He knew the chance to win was gone, but he kept fighting, not for the trophy or the points, but for his pride, for the honor of being a true champion. It was not only in the main race that Marc Marquez stunned the world in the sprint race. Starting from second position behind Fabio Quartararo, Marquez immediately attacked aggressively. His pressure caused Quartararo to lose control and go off the track, allowing Marquez to take the lead. From then on, Marquez led calmly but aggressively, leaving Alex Marquez and Francesco Bagnaia in his wake. He takes each corner with near-perfect precision. When he crosses the finish line, the victory is not just about speed, but a symbol of resurrection. One of the moments that truly left the world gasping for breath came during free practice. On the most difficult section of the Jerez circuit, a place where many riders fall due to the difficulty of maintaining control, Marc Marquez performed a miracle that few people in the world are capable of. When the rear tire of his bike suddenly lost grip, in a situation that would have resulted in a fatal crash for most riders, Marquez, with the reflexes and instincts of a racing god, managed to save himself from disaster. The impossible rescue left the entire paddock frozen in silence. Ducati general manager Gigi Dall'Igna, even the calm figure that he is, stood stunned. He could not hide his surprise and said honestly, "I have never seen a rider save a bike like that. He is not only fast, he has an instinct that cannot be taught." The extraordinary self-rescue spoke louder than the lap times. It was clear proof that Marquez is not just fast, he is a rider gifted with something special. He showed the world that he is not finished yet. He is still Marc Marquez, the maestro who can make the entire MotoGP world hold its breath in awe. On the other side of the increasingly heated MotoGP arena, Francesco Bagnaia is facing an extraordinary amount of pressure that he has never felt before in his career. The world champion, who usually appears calm and confident, showed a different side this time, a more human side, full of honesty and vulnerability. In an emotional interview, Bagnaia did not hide the bitter reality he experienced this season. He firmly stated that this year was the most difficult season of his professional career. "If I manage to win, it'll be like a miracle," Bagnaia said with a heavy voice full of bitterness. The statement was not just a complaint, but an honest admission of how heavy a burden he now carries on his shoulders. Bagnaia then went on to mention a name that has been the source of the most pressure: Marc Marquez. "Marquez is probably the most competitive opponent I have ever faced," he continued with a blank stare, as if remembering how difficult each of their duels had been. And indeed, Bagnaia's words were not without reason. The Marquez of today is not just the fast rider he once was. He has evolved into a much more dangerous figure. His explosive speed is now combined with incredible racing intelligence. He knows exactly when to push, when to save tires, when to take risks and when to defend. His adaptation to the Ducati has been much quicker than many expected, including Bagnaia himself. The perfect combination of aggression, intelligence, and the ability to read the race makes Marquez almost unbeatable. On every lap, in every corner, Bagnaia has to fight not only with his own speed, but also with the shadow of a Marquez who has become a new monster on the track. The pressure is suffocating. Any mistake, no matter how small, any moment of inattention can spell disaster when your opponent is Marc Marquez. Bagnaia knows that if he wants to stay in the title hunt, he has to be at his best, even more than he ever imagined. The praise doesn't stop there, as Marc Marquez continues to receive praise after praise. This time it was Ducati CEO Claudio Domenicali's turn to speak with admiration. He even did not hesitate to compare Marquez to one of the greatest legends in Ducati history, Casey Stoner. According to Domenicali, Marquez is not only a great rider. He is a figure who has managed to revive the spirit and aura of victory that Ducati once had when Stoner led it on the track. "I never thought I would see a moment like this again," said Domenicali with a twinkle in his eye. But Marc Marquez has made Ducati breathe again like in the Stoner era. He brought back the winning spirit that had been dormant for so long. "His figure has truly revived our spirit of glory," he continued in an emotional tone. "There may have been big names on the podium in Jerez, but in the hearts of Ducati's engineers, mechanics and top brass, their real hero is not on the podium, but in the middle of a track full of dust and wounds, Marc Marquez. He proved that a true champion is not one who never falls, but one who gets back up stronger every time." With a body that is still recovering and a bike that is still being refined, Marquez showed a toughness that few riders possess. Jerez bears witness. Marc Marquez has returned, not just to fight, but to reclaim his throne, to re-establish a legend that many had doubted. Now the question is, can his rivals stop the rise of the king before he truly dominates this season? Write your opinion below.